Hi guys, welcome back. Tara Makes It Up. Today I wanted to do a video that I think is hopefully going to help a lot of people. This video is actually taken from my e-course, so it's a little preview of some of the content from my new e-course all about that base. And I also thought I wanted to put this video on my main channel as well, as hopefully it will just help a lot of people. So it's how to cover acne, redness and breakouts, blemishes, spots, just tools and tricks that are going to help you make it super easy to cover, and products that work really well. And obviously this is kind of a snippet of the course, so within the course, within this kind of topic area, I go a lot more into depth about acne in general and covering breakouts, what causes it, how to prevent them, options for treating them, etc, etc. So the course is still available to pre-order now with the free bonus, and there is bonuses being added all the time as well, so keep an eye out at harrymakesitup.com and go onto the newsletter so you can sign up for all the latest on that. And also I thought I'd just quickly add a little bit more info, just a bit more an update on the e-course. So I've had a few questions, and I thought this is also a good chance just before I do the video to let you guys know about the e-course and answer some of those questions. A couple of you asking if it is available worldwide. Yes, it is. The great thing about it being online is it means I could make a course that can be for my subscribers in America or my subscribers in Australia or Portugal, and I love the fact that I can bring something to everyone no matter where you are. So I asked on my newsletters actually what you guys spend roughly on a month on kind of beauty and skincare, and the average price that came back was about £75. So my course is actually £65, and with the tools and tricks you're going to learn in this course, not only are you going to become a really savvy makeup shopper, but you're also going to learn all the tools and tricks that are going to make sure that you know not only how to save money in the future, but know what products work for you, know what products work for your skin type, your skin tone, that really complement you and make you feel more confident in the right makeup. And also I've just found out as well that Sigma will now be offering to students that complete my course as well, they will also be entitled for a 20% discount card, which you can also get worldwide. I'm really excited about that one. Is worldwide, so it will be to use online. If you are UK and Ireland based, you are also entitled to 20% off at Urban Decay stores, so that's just their standalone stores on completion of my course. Sadly they could only offer it this time for the UK and Ireland, however the Sigma one is available worldwide. So the other thing I have to tell you about, guys, is a giveaway. Now this is a very special giveaway because I'm actually giving away a bundle of my favourite hero products. And these are products that I not only recommend in the course, they're products I use in my pro kit, products I use on myself, and products that have my kind of Harry Makes Up seal of approval. And there's multiple chances to win as well. So you just have to make sure you're signed up to my newsletter, which is in the link below. And then all the other T's and C's and ways of getting multiple entries so you've got more chances to win will be in the description box below. So make sure you check that out. So all that's left to say is I hope you guys enjoy the video, and good luck with the giveaway. So first thing I'm going to start with on lovely Olivia is my Skin Iceland Pure Pore Minimizer. It's a bit of a mouthful. This is a really nice treatment, and I actually like to use this as a primer. So if I'm working with someone with open pores or redness or acne skin, this actually works really nicely because A, it's very gentle, and also it's silicone free, so it doesn't aggravate the skin. So I'm just going to apply this mostly through the kind of the centre of the face and where there's any kind of inflamed pores. I'm just going to pop some Elizabeth Arden 8-Hour Lip Balm on, just so when we come to doing the rest of the skin, any dryness in the lips is gone as well. So when it comes to covering acne, redness or breakouts, I think you have two options, and for me it depends on how much time you have. So your first option is, if you don't have a lot of time, using something like a slightly more fuller coverage foundation in a thin veil is going to cover very quickly and in minimal time. So something like the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation is great if you're in a hurry and you just want to get a nice even base all over and counteract the redness. So that's the quick option, and the reason I'm kind of mentioning that without showing you it is because it's the same way I would apply any other foundation. So the technique I want to show you guys today is one that takes slightly longer, however it's the one that I prefer, especially for red carpet, because it keeps the skin looking real and it definitely has a slightly more natural feel to it. So first thing I'm going to start with, now I've got the primer on, is the Clinique Redness Solutions. This does have SPF 15 in, however I wouldn't worry about it. I've used it for red carpet and I found it's absolutely fine for photos. So even looking at my model Olivia, she's got slightly warmer arms, and like I've said to you guys before, I think when you have redness it can be quite deceiving as to what your actual skin tone is, and it's tempting to go a lot lighter or a lot darker. So you want to look at all the skin exposed and just balance the colour somewhere in between. I'm really into my It Cosmetics brush at the minute. I find this just buffs makeup on beautifully. So I'm just going to start in the centre of the face, and I'm just going to buff a very thin, fine layer over the skin. And I'm just using circular motions to make sure it blends really evenly. And this is kind of like your base layer, so it's a nice kind of smooth, thinly applied, well blended base layer. And also, for example, with Olivia, what you might find, most people with acne will have it kind of in certain areas of the face rather than all over. So if you've got a really kind of clear open space on the forehead, there's no need to add more and more makeup there. You just want to look to cover where you need to cover.
That's what I usually do.
Yeah.
More of my forehead than my cheeks.
And then it looks real, doesn't it? Yeah.
Where it's worse.
Yeah, that's such a good tip. So you can see already the difference on one side, just so if I put your head a little bit more that way, Olivia, you can see the difference, just counteracting. And because this product is actually aimed at redness in the skin, it's such a good one if you do suffer with acne. It really does just knock back the redness. So just keep using that buffing motion. So you can see already that's just given a really nice even finish to the skin, and it's just give it a little bit more of a unified look. So then what I like to do is do a little bit of under eye concealer before I start targeting any of the redness that's still showing. Just helps you kind of build the face you would do normally. So it's kind of keeping the same principles, and it'll make it easier as you go along. So I'm going to take a little bit of NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Custard. I turn you that way a little bit, don't look up. So I'm going to pop a little bit under the eye area. I'm going to use a damp beauty blender, and I'm just going to use that to make sure it all stays part of the skin. And I do find as well, if you've got redness in the skin, the temptation is to look for lots of products that have kind of green undertones. But the thing with that is, especially if the green is very intense, you tend to start to look a bit ashy, and it will make you look paler as well. So especially if you have quite a tan complexion or olive complexion and you suffer with acne, that green's going to just make you look a very strange colour. So I actually find it's better to opt for things with kind of more yellow tones in. They cancel out redness really, really well. Do you find that, Olivia? Have you ever tried like the green products?
Yeah, I used to when I was younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just tend to get anything that's yellow based.
Yeah. And I think the formulas have changed a lot now, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like they used to be, literally, it was green for redness. That was all you kind of could get. So now we've gone under the eye area. Now we can go back in and target any redness that maybe is still showing through or is slightly larger in other areas. So I'm going to show you guys some of the concealer options that I use in my Pro Kit, because for me it kind of depends on the skin I'm working with, it depends on what I want to use that day. So I have a couple of different products that are my go-tos for covering blemishes, breakouts, or even if someone has acne or redness that still comes through the foundation, these are the products I like to use. So the first one I really love is the Makeup Forever Full Cover Concealer. I really like this because it does come in a really good range of shades, which I think is really important when you're trying to match your skin tone. You want to be able to find a concealer that matches really well. This one's also waterproof, so I use this a lot for red carpet, especially if someone's under very hot lights. If it's summertime, or for example if it's a shoot on the beach or a music video, this is something I know someone can sweat through and be in it all day. It's long lasting and it's not going to budge. So the two products that are kind of my everyday go-tos that I have to have in my kit, the first one is Vichy Derma Blend. I think this has such a good reputation now, especially amongst acne sufferers and people who suffer from severe redness. I think for me the only downfall with Vichy is the shade range. That's my one thing I feel like could be perfect, is if they just had a couple more shades. So the other one I'm going to show you, for me, acts very similarly, but it's the Kevyn Aucoin Central Skin Enhancer. So this one for me, I use for the same reasons I use the Vichy Derma Blend. This one is a lot cheaper, this one's a lot more pricey. However, this one comes in a lot of skin tones. So if you struggle with the Vichy in terms of finding your skin tone, definitely try the Kevyn Aucoin. So I'm going to start with the Vichy. This is their Fluid Foundation, the corrective foundation. And with this as well, you could even use this to cover things like birthmarks, rosacea, it's really good for. And it doesn't have SPF as far as I'm aware. I'm going to double check that. But it does have, it's waterproof, water resistant. So again, you could, doesn't matter if you're in a hot climate as well, it's still very easy to wear. And I like to take a MAC buffing brush, or something like a 217 or like a kind of fluffy domed brush to start with. A little of this will go a super long way. So that's one thing worth noting. Start with less and you can add more. So I'm just going to start to go over any patches of redness I can still see coming through, and very, very gently, and even that's too much product, you can see very quickly how pigmented and rich these are. And I'm just going to use little circular buffing motions, and I'm hardly touching the skin. As soon as you kind of start to put pressure on, you're going to bring more redness to the surface as well. So just super lightly. And I think for the price point of this product, if you can find your skin tone, it's incredible. The coverage is beautiful, and it does still look like real skin. And I think once you've done it a few times, you could definitely get this technique down in sort of like 5 to 7 minutes. So if you sort of kind of doing your base, you allocate that time. Turn you that way a bit, John. It'd definitely become much more like second nature. So you can just see it really quickly dilutes the redness, but in a very natural skin-like way. You can use a tiny bit of that around the nose if there's any kind of redness coming through around there. So I'm just going to change to a drier brush now. So the same kind of thing, just a fluffy buffing brush. Just because what you'll find as well with your brushes, as soon as it's got too much pigment in, it almost starts to remove the pigment. So if you just go to a clean brush, that makes it that little bit easier. So you can see we've got a beautiful glowing complexion now. So I think all I would do to finish, really, I mean, if this has kind of covered everything you want to cover, then that's fine. This is where you can add your powder. The one product I do go back in with, if I feel, for example, if someone has acne that is starting to scar, so if it's been kind of like a broken spot almost, and it's had like a little bit of scarring around it and it's drier, and say you've almost got like a point on it that needs covering, that's when I'll go in with something like the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage, and I'll use a very, very small brush, like a pinpoint brush or a very, very fine paintbrush, and that's where you can go in and you can just use a product like this, just literally to kind of go over, literally like pinpoint concealing, and just either dab with your finger, or you can just blend it back in over the top with your buffing brush, and with what's left on that from the previous foundation. So one more tip I'd say as well at this point, if you did feel, however, you had gone a little bit too far, or you felt there were certain areas that were built up with a little bit too much coverage, go back to a damp beauty blender. This is such a good tool, guys, especially when you just want to shear anything out. So if you felt the chin needed a little bit less, or for example, over any scarring, just use your beauty blender and just use that to buff in. And rather than wiping, you just want to kind of tap and push it into the skin so you don't disturb the concealing. So for a budget option, I still really like One Heck of a Blot by Soap & Glory. I think the key with powdering, if you're using a pressed powder, is to use a very soft brush so that you don't disturb anything you've just done. The one that I use in my Pro Kit and I'm going to use today is actually the Delilah one, which is the Micro Fine, I think it's called the Pure Touch Micro Fine Loose Powder. And this is so beyond super milled. It's so, so fine that it just gives the most beautiful veil without masking the skin. So what I'm going to do is just working with the powder that's in the lid. I'm going to take a MAC Velour Puff, and I'm going to use this just to set kind of any areas where the redness was a lot stronger. So this is just going to make sure it really stays in place. And again, I'm just using like a really soft rolling motion, like tapping it into the skin, just so it doesn't disturb. We don't want to kind of remove any of the work we've just done. And then just to finish, I'm going to take something like the Sigma tapered brush, the face blending one, and just finish with that. So it's a slightly lighter application again in the areas where there wasn't as many breakouts, just to keep it looking like real skin. And just around that nose area. And it's a nice way just to make sure everything's super blended, super clean looking. And so if you did have the opposite problem, you found you have acne with very, very dry skin, once you've used the powder puff just to kind of set any concealing you've done that you really want to make last, I would actually then use something like a spray, so like a fixer spray, or something like the Urban Decay. So the MAC or Urban Decay ones are both really good. That's a great way just to bring a bit more of a kind of dewy feel back to it. Or you can even add a little bit of liquid highlighter. So at this point as well, guys, you're pretty much done. Like I said, if you found you had one more breakout coming through still, or a tiny spot of redness, you could still go back in with something like your Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage and just finish with pinpoint concealing. But that's how you cover redness, acne and breakouts.